I'd like to help you grow financially and spiritually at the same time. Hi, my name is Sanchez. I'm the author of 36 books, and I preach around the world, been doing so for 35 years. I also love working with the poorest of the poor. Together with my friends, we've built all sorts of wonderful organizations and foundations, orphanages, home for the aged, a pregnant women crisis center, scholarship fund for poor children. And recently, what I've been trying to do is to help the common person retire as multi-millionaires. And let me tell you a story. The way I keep fit and healthy is, as you can see, I've got this bulging muscles and I've got a very macho body. Just kidding. I'm totally unathletic, and all I do is I walk in the village and just walk around, and that's all I do. Well, there was this couple while I was walking, an elderly woman pushing her husband in a wheelchair. They recognized me, and they said, "Brother Bo, can you pray over me?" So I did pray over them, and then right there in the middle of the street, praying over them, and then I heard their very sad story. Rito, 69 years old, was a seaman for 32 years. 32 straight years, and he was earning about a second engineer of the ship, maybe about 100,000 pesos a month. And then he had a stroke last January, and 3 months later he fell, broke his hip, and he was bedridden. And the wife, Jerry, was crying, and actually both of them were crying, and they were telling me how difficult it was. She was telling me that in order, to provide for his medicines, which is about 20,000 pesos a month just for the medicines, they had to already ask from the neighbors. And it is very, very difficult just listening to this story, knowing that for the past, 32 years he was a seaman earning a lot of money, and yet what's wrong? They were dependent on their SSS pension, which is 13,000 pesos a month combined, and yet remember, 20,000 pesos just for the medicines alone. So I was just listening to this story, and again my heart was breaking. Why was this happening? Well, last month Rito, I heard, passed away, and so I talked to the wife. I visited her, and yes, she was grieving over the death of her husband, but she was also worried for the funeral expenses. And I was saying, how can this be? And I computed, how much did her husband earn as a seaman for 32 years? I computed 20 million pesos in his whole career. And yet right now, his wife could not pay, a few months ago, for his medicines, and now for the funeral expenses. But this is the story of millions of Filipinos. This doesn't have to be your story. Hi, this is Brother Bo greeting my IMG family. And I miss you. And I should be there with you right now, but I'm in Australia. I'm preaching to the feasts in Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne. And so I miss you today, but I really wanted to speak to you. So I'm doing this video, and I hope you listen well, and I hope you open your heart to the message that I want to give to you, which I believe God wants to give to you. And it's a very simple message. I was preparing about this whole course on entrepreneurship, and then it shocked me when I realized something. It just blew my mind. A light bulb came as I was reading the life of Jesus, and I said, wow, I never thought of it that way, that Jesus was a businessman. For the longest time, spiritual people are supposed to be focused on heaven and focused on God and focused on religion and focused on prayer and focused on the Bible, and not about money and not about business. But Jesus himself, I realize now, was a businessman. How long? He spent more years as a businessman than he spent years preaching healing and driving out demons. Jesus spent 17 years as an entrepreneur and only 3 years in the ministry of preaching, healing, and driving out demons. Amazing. You know, during that time, during biblical times, at the age of 13, you would already apprentice with your father. And in Mark chapter 6, verse 33, you know, when Jesus was already preaching, you know, the people said, hey, wait a minute, is he not the carpenter? Didn't he? Wasn't just a few years ago he repaired our jacuzzi? He repaired our 2-car garage? I'm just kidding. But they saw him as that carpenter. Now, Jesus, think about it. He did the normal stuff of marketing his services, of accounting, of collecting payments, of answering complaints from customers, and paying taxes. He was doing all that. He was designing and repairing and selling his services. Jesus, he sanctified business. So my point to you is this. IMG family, I want you to be happy that God has blessed you with your business. Your service, your product is the financial freedom, financial well-being of your customer. That's what you want. That's what you're selling. And you go out there with pride. You go out there with joy. There's nothing to be ashamed of a business. This is your business. And I pray that God prosper you. The other thing I want to share with you is this. In a business, there are ups and there are downs. And I'm sure that you've gone through your downs. And the way I want you to look at your downs, I want to change your perspective. You know, King David, before he became king, he was a young man who fought Goliath. And before he fought Goliath, he was but a shepherd. He was a lowly shepherd. You know, today when you say shepherd, you've got this nice, cute, you know, wonderful, nostalgic picture of a guy with broad shoulders who looks like Brad Pitt, you know, carrying a lamb over his shoulder. You know, during that time, they looked down at shepherds. He was the common laborer. He was not very nice, and then he was muddy and dirty and smelly. Anyway, David was a shepherd. And then when he fought Goliath, at least when he volunteered, King Saul said to David, David, that guy's a giant. That guy is huge. That guy's a monster. You're but a kid. Hello, are you sure you want to do this? David said, I fought and defeated the bear and the lion when I was a shepherd. I love that when he said that. You know why? Because you do not win the battle in the battlefield. You win the battle before the battle begins. And so David won over the giant Goliath, not in the battlefield. David won over Goliath when he fought the lion and the bear and defeated them as a shepherd. So when he was a shepherd and he was supposed to guard the sheep, and he saw the lion and he saw the bear, he could have run away. He could have told his father, Dad, look at this. There was a lion and a bear. We lost a few sheep, you know. I'm not trained to do that kind of a thing. But no, he saw the bear and the lion as training. And here's my message for you. I know some of you are going through some difficult time. Maybe you're going through rejection, and the sting of rejection is taking its toll on you. People that you trusted and people that you respect look down on you and what you're doing. Maybe you're frustrated right now because you want to see growth, but the growth is not happening. Whatever you're going through, here's what I want to ask you to do. Look at everything as training. You are facing your lion, you are facing your bear right now. And hey, if you see this as training and you endure and you persevere and you don't give up, it is training you. What? Because the Goliath is coming. And when you're able to defeat the lion and the bear right now, you will have all that you can need to defeat the Goliath. And when you defeat the Goliath, you know what's going to happen? You're going to become king. You're going to become king. Always choose growth over money. And I love saying that. It's a spiritual principle that I live by, and I've been sharing it to people. Because if you choose growth, the money will follow. But if you choose money, the growth will not follow. Make that as a personal mantra, a spiritual principle in your life. Always make that decision. Grow in your personal life, grow in your intellectual life, grow in your relational life, grow in your spiritual life, grow in your personal spiritual life. Because when you do and you choose growth, the money will follow. See everything as training, because bigger things are going to happen in your life. God's abundance will flow in you like a river. That's my prayer for you. Thank you so much that I'm part of the IMG family, and I greet you with all love and prayer. May more of His love flow in your life. This is Brother Bo Sanchez saying, live a fantastic life.